Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about grad school interview tips specifically for therapists. So clinical mental health counseling is usually what the program is called for you to obtain your LPC and become a therapist. I wanted to put at the very beginning of this video to make sure if you are looking into grad schools that you are only looking at programs that are CACREP accredited. So it will be in all caps and it will say CACREP accredited. That's how you know the program is legit. That is our accreditation. So you can seek out licensure when you're done. You just want to make sure, because some of these online schools that have gotten really popular since COVID are not CACREP accredited, and that would be like the worst possible thing would be to go to a school that, at the end of the day isn't getting you where you want. So I'm excited to make this video for you, and I hope that these tips are helpful. Hi, my name is Alyssa Powers, and I made this YouTube channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't so you can thrive as a mental health professional. So getting right into it, if you are interviewing for grad school, congratulations. That is an awesome accomplishment to already have an interview. And even if you are just thinking about potentially applying to a program, I think this video will still be valuable because I'm going to talk you through some of the things that you would need to be prepared for. So number one, sometimes these programs, depending on what they're looking for, are going to want you to have some experience in the mental health field. And that can be really hard to get if you obviously don't have a degree. You're not a therapist yet. So I just wanted to throw out some ideas of ways that you can get experience. Now, if your undergraduate degree is something like psychology or social work, you might already have some experience. You might have had to do an internship, or you might have just had some field experience in general. But if you did not, then it can be tricky to think about, like, how do I get experience? I'm not a therapist yet. I don't have a license. So call centers would be an option. You can volunteer at like a suicide hotline or a crisis line. That's one way to get valuable experience. And a lot of those pay too. So that would be really cool as well. If you're interested in mental health, you would be way ahead of the game if you got that training to become a hotline representative. Another idea is shadowing a therapist. Obviously, maybe not in their sessions, but just shadowing throughout their day, seeing what their life is like, what being a therapist is like. That could be some relevant experience for you. And then there are also just case management jobs that you don't need a specific degree for, you just need a bachelor's degree. So my specific counseling program did not require us to have experience, but I have had multiple of my own clients want to go into grad school in the clinical mental health counseling programs, and multiple of them said that they needed some experience. So let me know below. I'd be really curious if that's like a new thing or how you're navigating that, because I think that's a really hard thing to expect people to gain when they are pre-licensed. So just some ideas. Let me know below if what the expectations are now. So next tip is spending some time on the university website reading through professors' bios. These are almost always online. You can see a little blurb about the professors. Typically, different professors take turns doing these interviews. So you might know who specifically is interviewing you, and you might be able to read up on them, or you might just want to read through all the bios in that department and get familiar with the different professors and what their specialties are, what they teach, things like that. But I would say that is a great resource for you, because you will be able to then speak so much more eloquently in your interview about specifics of the program or things that excited you, or maybe a professor that you would be excited to work with. That could be a really good thing. Next is talk to students that are already in the program if you can. So this might not be possible for everyone, but if you know anyone who is in the program already, I would ask them questions, get familiar, ask them, you know, what their experience has been, what are the pros and cons of this program. That could be really good and give you some detailed info to talk about too in your interview. Next is very well known, hopefully, but just dressing professionally. Even if you have a virtual interview, if you're interviewing out of state, dress in something that makes you feel confident. Make sure you have good lighting, that your pets are put away and they're not going to be loud, making sure you have a clean and not distracting kind of background is all important. Really, the best tip I have for lighting is just being in front of a window. There's nothing that beats that natural light. And so I know I live in Ohio where it can be dark so much of the year, but even in those overcast days, still being in front of a window, facing it, and then having the camera come towards you is going to give you the best lighting situation. So keep that in mind if you are doing a virtual interview. Another tip would be to do a mock interview with a friend or with me. I have a video that is all about specific interview questions that you can go through. I'll link it up here. You can go through and pause the video and write down your responses, or you could, you know, just write down the questions and have someone actually interview you in person. I kind of like the idea of a friend or a family member interviewing you in person, because you know how you get kind of nervous and weird in those situations where you're doing a role play. I think it can be good to like practice that and be comfortable, because interviews are nerve-wracking. So it would really put you in the zone, get you, you know, to take it seriously and really practice how you're going to come across, and then they can give you feedback too. So next is just making sure that you are making eye contact with your interviewer and you are paying attention to body language. So, you know, making eye contact is going to make you seem more confident and personable. And then body language, just making sure, you know, you're not sitting there with your arms crossed or something, leaning in, smiling, seeming personable. Hopefully you are if you want to be a therapist, and you know that comes naturally to you, but it's just something to think about. And then lastly, making sure that you prepare questions to ask your interviewer at the end of the interview. So like, what do you want to know about the program? It doesn't look good if they ask you like, oh, what do you want to know? And you say, oh, nothing, and run out of there, you know, like that doesn't show that you've thought about the program very critically. And then another, I guess, very last thing, being able to just thank them, shake their hand, and then sending a follow-up email that says thank you is like customary. So I would make sure you do that. There's tons of templates online. You can look that up to see the wording and, you know, whatever. Professors get like a ton of emails, so don't expect them to respond, but I do think you should just do it. Just put it out there. It's good karma. So I hope that you found this helpful. I can't predict exactly how your interview is going to go, but I know for me, my interview was very laid back. It was one-on-one. It was in person. This was prior to COVID, so we weren't doing virtual, but I've heard of people having to do group interviews. I've heard of people doing interviews with multiple professors, like it's, you know, 2 or 3 people. So it can look really different depending on the school and, you know, also your acceptance, like the acceptance rates might look different. I think for my program, it was not super rigorous to get accepted. Like they just wanted to make sure you're personable, you're a good fit for the program, and that, you know, you met the requirements. So like the GPA requirements and all of that. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please give this video a like and subscribe below. It helps my channel so much. And like I said, I have another video all about specific questions that they might ask you in an interview, and I will link that, and hopefully that can help you on this journey as well. All right, happy interviewing.